point out some of my observations in terms of what this incident says about the state of our country today and what it might well be into the future as well. I wasn't here when this incident happened. I arrived later on. And what I saw was a group of our fellow citizens in this post-war Sri Lanka in which reconciliation is talked about as if it is supposed to be the dominant theme of government policy. I saw them frightened. I saw them traumatized, shocked and appalled by what had happened. The first thing I want to say is that I salute them for their courage, for their resilience, for their commitment to find the truth about their loved ones. But we must not forget, and this is what is tremendously important, is that in this post-war Sri Lanka, 5 years after the end of that war, we have fellow citizens in this country who, because of their ethnicity and now also because of their religion, are living in fear and insecurity. That is no basis to build peace, no basis to build reconciliation, certainly no basis to build prosperity, and I doubt very much whether it could be the basis on which to consolidate a dynasty as well. I salute them for their courage and their resilience. The second point I want to make to you is that this incident is unequivocally a full frontal assault on the freedom of expression and the freedom of assembly in this country. Two basic fundamental freedoms in any functioning democracy, openly violated and with impunity. What are the powers that be concerned about? What are these groups who behave in this fashion concerned about? Is it really about information going to Geneva, to an international commission, to the international media? Are they so stupid? Don't they realize that that information will go out anyway? And it has. I was out of this country when Alutkama Beru and Ladanda Town happened. And I think I was receiving more information outside of this country than the general population within. What they seem to be concerned about, and this is the point, is about the circulation, the dissemination of information within this country, so that people will know the extent of the repression. That is what I think, at the end of the day, they are most concerned about. It is a government, I tell you, a government that is more fearful at the end of the day of certain of its citizens than it is of the international community. It is a government that is fearful of certain of its citizens because they will dare to defy. They will dare to tell the truth. They will not give up. And that is what, at the end of the day, governments of this nature cannot cope with. There is a missing gene. There is a lack, a gap, something missing in the very DNA and makeup of this regime that cannot deal with reconciliation in humane terms, on the basis of human dignity, on the basis of the mutual respect for people irrespective of the particular multiple identities that we as Sri Lankans always have, cherish and celebrate. The next point that I want to make to you is the point about impunity. How come that in a number of incidents of civil protests and in a number of incidents of aggressiveness and disruption of meetings, people in robes feature prominently. And I say people in robes. They may well be bona fide monks, or they may well be dressed in robes. But the point I want to make to you is this, is that we have now created a category of persons. As long as they are dressed in robes, they are now above the law. It is an open license to any group that wants to destroy the democracy in this country to have spearheading their demonstrations people dressed in robes. Nothing happens to them. What is most interesting, and indeed most telling, is that they arrogate to themselves the power, the liberty, the license to tell the police what they should do and how they should behave and how the law should be applied. They are above the law, and now they're also interpreters and makers of the law as well. Is this therefore still a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, formal functioning democracy in which the rule of law applies without fear or favor to anyone? No, it cannot be when you have situations of this nature. So we have created a group of persons above the law. Are we therefore, in all but name, some theocracy? Are we? Is one religion to tower above all others, to be above the law as well? These are questions I think we have to seriously ask ourselves, because the answers to them are being manifested in events on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, destroying the very fabric of this country as a functioning democracy. Therefore, there is no other conclusion but the defiance, the resistance to this cancer that is eating our democratic fabric in this country. Civil society must stand together in solidarity. Political parties must come together and say that enough is enough. This country is being destroyed by, if nothing else, cancer of impunity and the collapse of the rule of law. Never again should be our motto, and we must ensure that we confront and resist it at all times. And that may well entail talking to the International Commission of Investigations. Sri Lanka is a member of the international community, of the United Nations system. This is a committee that has been set up under a United Nations resolution. As a member state of that international community, should we pick and choose? Can we pick and choose which UN resolutions we accept and which we do not? Our citizens surely have the right to say what they have to say, to ask the questions about where their loved ones are, and to ask it at an international level if there is no redress of those grievances at a domestic level. This is a state, a regime that has closed its doors in callous disregard for the pain and suffering of its citizens, in the North in particular. We have to ensure that that no longer is the case if we are to remain reconciled and united. This is a fight about Sri Lanka. It's not a fight about Western interests or globalization or anything else. First and foremost, most basically, It is a fight about Sri Lanka and what we, as the citizens of this country, want our country to be and are willing to do to ensure that that's the case. Thank you.